with no canvas. Subscribe right now.
What?
I'm going to talk over this a little bit because it's out of tune and really hard to listen to. Probably most people wouldn't think it's warranted to even put it up. But what you're looking at here is a typical the whole gang together band song creation session. Now, I'm not absolutely positive, but I think that this is the very creation of the parking song. And this is how it's done. Nobody's writing down. Tom's standing there, and he comes up with this on the spot. I don't know if it was based on a personal life experience, I don't know what, but this is why this changed my life. You think you go to art school to learn to draw and paint, right? No, you go to develop yourself as an artist. Nobody knows how that's going to manifest itself in the rest of your life. The tape quality's bad, and I want to comment on that. This is over 30 years ago, and what's happening is the tape is actually falling apart. Metal particles are coming off of it as I'm digitizing it. But by allowing this process and having the digitization happen, we can preserve a fragment of a memory that was very important, whereas otherwise we wouldn't be able to. So I'm going to do it anyway. This song is being created as we go. Now, I want to tell a little bit of the story here of how this all started. I got a lot of scholarships. College didn't cost so much. So for Christmas of 1984, I asked for a VCR. We were really watching MTV a lot. Yeah, I had to wait a long time to get some of the videos to come on that you want to watch. With a VCR, we'd be able to watch whatever we wanted to as soon as we record it once, as many times as we like. So I got that VCR. And then I also said, you know what? I'm in art school. There's a lot of things that are worthy of being documented and videotaping. I think it'd be a great idea. You know, at the time, I guess my parents had enough money to ask for this big gift. I said, it'd be a great idea if I had a video camera. And I guess they agreed. And so I got it. And then I said, you know what? I can videotape this video camera onto the VCR, but I can't carry it around anywhere. Can we take the VCR back and get a split VCR that has two sides, one that stays at home and one that goes over your shoulder and connects to the camera so you can go wherever you want? And they did. So I went back to college and I had this with me. And we started to videotape what we were doing. I got these drums set up, and the first drums aren't these. I had to learn how to play the drums first while I was home over the summer. And I picked up this, what the hillbillies called the mighty fine guitar, over summer break. Brought that home, and just having it there. Well, the first person who knew how to play guitar just picked it up. Tom. I guess he was learning to play the guitar, but he already knew some things. And with the video camera and the guitar and the drums, we just started not only doing all the other things I'm showing, like going around and taking videos, but we did all this, all our music creation, with the inspiration of watching it as we go. So a lot of factors had to come together to make this where we could all get something out of it. We all got different things out of it. But what I got out of it was a major shift, because my dad was an architect, and I saw him in front of me spending his life on the drawing board. He was very, very quiet, shy, introverted type, and I was naturally that way too, but I didn't want to be. If you saw some of the previous videos, I explained some of the things in the California video, Flight 441 video, the Universal Studios. I explained some of the things about my art perspective in the historic films of Maryland Institute College of Art, about how my early beginnings made me want to get out and do something and have a split lifestyle and go out there like, Batman is in a cave. He's got the secret identity of Bruce Wayne, but then he gets called into action and boom, out of the cave and he goes. So I wanted to become something more, and I just didn't know how. When I got to college and I met these people, they all had things I didn't have. And through the video camera and the drums and the ability that they had to want to watch themselves, there wasn't anything on TV they were interested in. They were artistic types. The TV was mostly boring. We would do this and do the other things that I'm showing on this channel with no canvas. And that would be like the YouTube type of phenomenon, and we would only share it with the people that we were with. But imagine, this had to be the perfect storm for me to gain from this. And each one of these people had to somehow gain in their friendships, in their creative expression, in the fact that here they have a recording studio in the basement of their house. Not the greatest recording studio, but hey, it's something they wouldn't have had. Nobody had any phones or internet. Nobody was so diverted by everything else that they wouldn't have time to take the time for something like this. The perfect storm was created. This creative outlet was fostered by myself, and these other people were drawn into it. And I gained, through my dedication to be free and give to them as I could, the ability for them to teach and instruct, and for me to understand what this other world that I wanted was going to be starting to look like. And so what I liked about it was I couldn't touch it, I couldn't be it. I could just kind of immerse myself into it with the basics of really trying hard to become a drummer, and nobody else in my family was musical. It's kind of like, you Batman, again, to go back to that, my roots as a child. Well, how does he decide to become a superhero? I mean, he's got the money, but he has to make the means happen, right? I had a video camera, I had a drum set, I had this studio. Nobody was using the basement. I said to Ted, hey Ted, you don't mind if I, do whatever needs to be done in the basement? No. The other roommates there, we don't have any video documentation of them. They said, yeah, go ahead. So this is what I did. And we got everybody that came over, this is what they wanted to do. So I was able to take and transform this basement into a place where I could experience this whole other world that I never experienced before. I didn't care if everybody was out of tune. I didn't care if people were just learning their instruments. I didn't care if nobody knew what they were doing together and if there's going to be any cohesion. As the case happened, we came up with about 6 or 7 hits that are, if some of these people didn't die and they wanted to put their minds to it, we could maybe develop into a stronger working band and maybe get, recordings that would actually go somewhere. I had these thoughts in my mind, I don't know whether any of that would have happened, but it doesn't matter. These people, my involvement with them, my artistic vision and theirs, and the intertwining of our artistic visions came together and coalesced into something that I hope it works for them. I mean, they showed up and they did it. I didn't have to coerce them. They enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun watching this and doing this. But it coalesced into something of myself that bloomed and blossomed and went on throughout my entire life. My analytic process became so much more than just what I had originally learned, like how do you draw something in the right proportions and composition and shading and textures and stuff. Now it became, how can I see live performing, working with skill of use an instrument and a group together, how can I see how that can metamorphosize in it? And the fact that it was video production, and then I got more interested in what you could do with that and the editing process, and that led me into film and television production and working on major motion pictures and things like that, because I saw that was what my interest was. This was all the start of taking me off that drawing board and giving me a value in my artistic expression and vision and analytic process that went into the psychological aspects of who I was as an individual, how I raised my children, how I interacted with my wife, how I perceived reality, how I interacted with people in my world, how my views formed. And still, of course, I'm trying to decide, well, what am I going to do with that? I don't want to do art for art's sake. I get a great value out of it, like these people are getting right now. They're having fun on a Saturday afternoon or after school. But it's not just for art's sake. We want to do something. We want to change the world. We want to use some artists want to use what they gain to share with the world what they can offer that others can't. And so their life existence is more meaningful and transcends from themselves to the world. This is the vision of an artist. Maybe not every artist, but this is my vision. And I've been trying to do this all through my life. And these guys helped me to have an avenue that just was the spur of the start. And I've been following and chasing this avenue. Thanks to these people and our time together, all the days of my life, my artist ways and being has never veered from the start that I got from these guys in the Institute. And what I'd like to do with this channel as we go on beyond this is I'd like to get interaction from other people who have had these types of experience in life, their artistic visions and how they develop them. And these people you see in the video, of course, but we're only looking at like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. That's not enough. I want to hear from you guys. Hey, we shared this together. You know, some of you aren't here with us any longer, but some of you are. Do the favor of finishing what you started, seeing what has been done here, and injecting it. Another great song. How did we get around? How did we get around when we were all together? There was too many people to fit in my 69 Dodge Charger. If we went going skateboarding or whatever. Well, Tom, his parents, I guess, had some money. He got a Dodge Caravan. Well, shoot, man, we could fit comfortably everyone in that van to go skateboarding and go wherever we're going to go. So he's excited. He got a car, a Dodge Caravan. We're making up the whole song based on I got a Dodge Caravan. What kind of things are we going to say about the Dodge Caravan? The chorus is I got a Dodge Caravan, I got a Dodge Caravan, I got a Dodge Caravan, I got a Dodge Caravan. And it's being produced right here. Ted's all over the place. It's just brainstorming, it's sketching. What's it going to be about? What's it going to be like? We don't know, but by the end of the song, we know. Now, we never performed this one live, I don't think. Some of these things got lost, and we watched them a few times and had fun watching them. But we didn't make them what we call one of our hits that we practiced over and over again. It was just the same chords over and over again. Why was this important? Well, because a lot of these people here are just learning their music, just getting together. I mean, it wasn't until way later that Chris, that you see there on the bass, started going do 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 do, like on the parking song, kind of like the background of Vince Guaraldi on Linus and Lucy. You know, Ted was a big advocate of that Linus and Lucy song. He could play it on the piano, and I think that influenced the bass line of the parking song. And now, right now, at this moment, Chris, I don't think back there is at the level where he could do that fancy bass line. But with working with us and with Ted and these other guys, he learned to do that bass line. And by the time we developed the parking song further and it had that bass line, it was a very, very strong song. But these are you know, when you're an artist, you sketch. When you're an impressionist, you go out and you get a vision of what you see on the countryside, and you try to put it up there on the sketch pad or the painting. Well, this is what these guys are all doing right here. Now, this particular day, we had a guy holding the light and a guy walking around with a video camera. This was unusual because I usually just stuck the camera on a tripod, turn it on, and people, you know, that was the way. One of the things we did when we went to video production class was we learned that the video won't capture the image well unless you give it light. So I went and got these two really expensive, I think they were like $6 bulbs on these little light things. And as long as we had that shining on whatever we do, the video would come in okay. So for a while, we really enjoyed that, you know, our video on our color television, our little 19-inch color television upstairs, actually looked as good as the television programs. And we'd rather watch us because we're the people on the television programs. And so that's what we would do. And this encouraged us to go back in and do it again the next time we all had free time. When we got our homework assignments done, we had free time.
Hi.
We want to play.
My name's Teddy. Let me tell you about my first car. It was a Dodge Caravan.
So here we are, heavily immersed
You guys, we're gonna sing about it now.
in our playtime.
That's Tom. And that's Chris. And that's Rob right there, listening into something. And over in the back we got Paul. No, that's Chris. Oh, wait. That's Rich. And that's Paul, way in the back there on the drums. I got a Dodge Caravan, I got a Dodge Caravan, I got a Dodge Caravan, I got a Dodge Caravan.
He's shaking his head.
Yeah, that's
how out of tune, how not knowing what we're doing could this possibly be? But we didn't sit around and talk about it. We just got our fingers and hands busy. And what I did was, I was originally playing the drums just by myself. And when you look at Bunny Fun and some of the original Basement tapes, where Tom first picked up an acoustic guitar and we started doing stuff, well, that didn't fly too much because we had a next door neighbor that we made too much noise for too long a period of time. It was a problem. But if we didn't make too much noise, or not for too long a period of time, it was okay. So what I did was, I went and got these Simmons electric drums. They were just all the rage. But we had a good contact at a music store in Sarasota, Florida. And I picked these up, and they were stupid. You know, they were doom, 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 doom. It was dumb, you know? But what it did was it allowed us to record everything through the stereo. We didn't even have amps. And it allowed us to have this with making no noise. If you were there, it wouldn't sound very good. You'd hear the cymbals, and you'd hear Ted's voice, but you wouldn't hardly hear anything else. Because what I did was I went and got this 10-channel mixer from a local music store, and all it was just this little stupid little thing where you could plug in 10 microphones or 10 phono cord things into it, and you'd make it go up and down. There wasn't treble or anything. It was just 10 inputs and 1 output. I put the output into the stereo that I had there, and we'd adjust it for everybody so that they had the right levels. You know, Tom was out front, so he was a little bit more. You can hear the bass in there. That's Chris. You can hear a little bit of ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, and that's Rich back there. And you hear a little bit of the keyboard. And I got these really cheap. You know, I didn't have any money. There was no budget. Go, Ted, go. I went down to Veterans Warehouse and got, I think it was Veterans Warehouse, I got these cheap dollar headphones, and they were like totally the wrong amperage and everything, and you couldn't hear anything. But hey, we all had headphones if we wanted them. But Tom didn't use it. He just heard my drumming, and he heard his guitar, and he just did it. But we got this all sounding like this. You couldn't hear it live. It was only to be done for the video camera and on the tapes.
That's enough. You can stop now, you know.
And you notice I got this little bit of echo, this little bit of reverb. Got this like over at the record store by the Giant at the Rotunda in Falls Road over there. I had this little $54 super cheap, or maybe it was Radio Shack, reverb echo type thing that I would run the microphone through first before it went through this mixer. And that would give us just a little bit of feeling like it's got that echo. I couldn't afford expensive reverb units. Everything, that reverb unit at the time was like $400. So our major budget here for the sound was a home stereo, a cheap microphone, $25, $100 mixer with no treble or anything, just 10 inputs, and this $54 thing. So what I would do is, I had a budget, and I gotta say, it wasn't much of a budget. I was a big guy. I was like 6'3.5", and I got skinny. I got down to 175. I usually am around 215, 220. And what I would do is, whenever I needed something, I just like kind of eat cheap. I'd go on a diet, and I would lose weight. If I needed a $54 thing to make the reverb, or a $25 mic, or a $100 mixer, well, over a course of weeks and months, I might be able to squeak that out if I ate tuna fish and macaroni and cheese or ramen noodles more often. And I didn't really talk to my mom and dad about this. Every once in a while, they'd help me out a little bit, but sometimes I had to make things happen on my own, because how would they understand this crazy chaos stuff that we're doing as being so important to me? How would they understand that? So, that sounds good. Yeah. So, let me just tell you this quick little story. Let me tell you this quick little story on how I got my first set of hi-hats. I got this $100 drum set, JC's drum set or whatever, over in Towson or something like that, down at the end of Falls Church Road or something like that. And I had 3 toms and a Gretsch bass drum. And I talked to my mom and dad. I said, if you'll let me get this, if you let me get this, I could learn to play the drums, because my brother had a snare drum and he had put it down and never used it again because in the band back in Florida. I said, all I gotta do is put that with the cymbal and a hi-hat and these 3 drums, these 3 toms and this Gretsch bass drum. Oh, I got drums for $100. I said, I need to send you $100. Well, I got started. Learned how to play drums that summer with my brother back in Florida. Well, we didn't have good cymbals. There's these cheap tin things. They were horrible. And I said, went into the music store down at Ted's Music Shop on Center Avenue, down by the George Washington Monument in Baltimore. It burned down since, but I used to go over there and get cheap stuff. And I needed about, what was it, 140, 150? I'm not sure how much it was. Maybe a little over 100 for this Zildjian New Beat, old vintage used hi-hats. And if I could just get those hi-hats, they sound so good, the quality of tin would go away, and it would be a quality instrument here. Zildjian hi-hats, even though they're used, they sounded so good and crisp. What I had to do is I said, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy those. And I don't care. I am going to just eat tuna fish, sandwiches, and macaroni and cheese for 2 weeks. I can get by. I'm young. I'm strong. And I did. Well, at the end of the 2 weeks, I got sick. Malnutrition. I don't know. But I got better. You get better, right? You get better. You get sick, you get better. Well, I got better. And guess what? After I got better, I had the hi-hats. Oh, yeah. And I used those hi-hats for years and years and years. And it made a good sound. I loved it. The sound it made was so crisp and nice. It was professional hi-hats. Zildjian, So this is the way that I proceeded, trying to find a way. Here I am just fooling with my drums here, making them go funky noises instead. This is how I proceeded with finding my entrance into this new world and some of the funny stories that went along with it. And I was so thankful that these guys wanted to have this playtime and do this. With no canvas, subscribe right now.